All right, decals. You have a bottle of Microsol and Microset, okay?
Okay.
The blue stuff goes down on the surface of the part to get the decal.
Okay, so blue goes with this one.
Right. Now, don't do it just yet.
Right.
Then the decal goes down, then the red stuff goes over the top. Now, you were concerned...
So I'm going to do the water and put that down and then...
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you were concerned about the molded detail on the surface.
Yeah.
Well, with the red stuff, it'll melt the decal.
Oh.
So it'll conform to the surface.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you align it correctly, it's going to look really nice when it's done.
Align it correctly would be the operative.
So align it and
phrase.
then put the red stuff on. Now, when the red stuff goes on, it'll pucker the decal. Let it, because when it dries, it'll smooth out.
Okay.
So
just don't worry about it. Just let it.
Right. Don't
do
worry
its
about
thing.
it. Just let it do its thing. Now, we're not painting that part before we put this decal on. So make sure that decal covers the entire part. If the decal doesn't, we need to put some paint on there before we decal.
So you're asking me to get it right before I do it?
Well, just
Otherwise, you need to
eyeball
paint
it
right
and
now.
see. Look at it and see if you think that decal is going to cover that entire part.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I
then we're
over
good.
top of it, yeah.
We're good, because if there's a little bit of an edge at the top, we're not going to be able to see it through the cockpit window.
Yeah, it looks like a perfect fit.
Okay. Most likely it is. That's why we picked a House of Gawa kit instead of a 20-year-old Revel kit.
Gotcha.
Okay?
All right, now remind me, though.
Okay, now the
Here.
proper way to do that is to dip the decal in the water.
When do I put this on?
Dip the decal in the water,
Okay.
and then set it on the rim of the bowl. That's why I've got a bowl at the rim.
Gotcha.
And just
Now
let
we're
it sit there.
Just dip it?
Yeah, you don't have to soak it in the water. Just dip it.
Oh, maybe that was where I went wrong at age 12.
I'm looking for my decal brushes. I have brushes just for working with decals. Okay. And again, I don't know where they're at. Oh, there they are. All right, now one of these brushes is for red, one of them's for blue. It really doesn't matter what, as long as you keep it straight the whole time you're decaling.
Okay.
Okay? Because you don't really want to mix
I
those.
have that one red and this one be blue.
Yeah, it's up to you what you do. Now go ahead and paint that blue stuff on there.
And do I hold it or just paint it on here?
It don't matter. That blue stuff's not going to hurt your fingers. Neither's the red. I think the red is mainly vinegar. All right, and go ahead and hold that part together. Now let's look at the seams. Okay. Now, I don't think that's...
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, you're going to have to squeeze this together pretty good. I'm going to get you a couple of clamps. Now, there's a method of seam filling, and it looks like it's going to work good on this. What you do is you put the glue on, and then you hold it really tight. And as the glue melts the plastic, a little bit of that plastic is going to squirt out of the seam. And then you can sand that down and remove the seam. But it almost looks like the seam is part of the part. In other words, where the seam's going to run would be a natural line on the part anyhow.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have to worry about a seam too much on that one.
Okay.
All right. I just slip this off and onto the...
Okay, is it loosened on the paper?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's dancing around.
Okay, and then you slip that off on top of the part.
I need...
you've moistened the part, right?
Yes.
Good. Because then the decal won't just
Can
stick.
I do it fresh again, though?
If you want.
Let me just do it fresh, because it sort of dried up there. All right.
Okay, now you can put those parts together and just hit it with this stuff.
Where do I put the glue on it?
You just wipe this glue along the seam. No, put the parts together first.
Okay.
You know, is it best to just
Just slide it on there. And you're dealing with a fairly large decal covering the entire piece, and it's one piece, so it won't be that hard to get it to line. Get it to line properly. It's okay if you have an edge around the outside of it. Just make sure the edge is even. And no need to be nervous about it.
Well, I just got millions of people watching.
Not millions. Only probably about 300.
That's what would happen when I was a kid.
Okay, just put it back on there. Now, don't touch it with your fingers anymore.
Okay.
Use the knife to move it around. Get some water on top of it. Water, not the blue stuff.
Okay.
Use the brush you use for the blue stuff. Dip it in the water.
Okay.
Put the water down on top of it. See?
Right,
it's fixing the problems.
Gotcha.
And you can use the knife blade to slide it around with if the surface is slippery. Oh, you're not slippery enough. Here, let me do it. Parts. There's a lot of different ways. I usually don't try to cut them flush. I usually try to cut and leave a little bit of material behind.
You call that a sprue?
Yes, this is the sprue the parts come on. Okay?
I didn't know that.
And I usually try to cut and leave some of the material behind. And then, and you can see I left some nubs here. then you've got a choice. If the nubs are big, you can take your knife and trim it. If they're really small, I'll use the back of the knife blade and scrape them. Okay? Or I'll take one of these files and file it. You have to be careful when you use the file, because you can remove too much material and then you got a divot in the surface.
So we want to just be careful to just go right down to the very edge of the surface.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And then you don't leave any of the nub marks. Now this one, I'm going to put on my cheater glasses. This one looks like it will benefit a little from this. I'm using the blade of the knife, and I really shouldn't, because I'll divot it real quickly. I should be using the back of the knife and just scraping. Because when you scrape like this, you're scraping it smooth. Okay? And that surface is a lot smoother than it would be otherwise. And then I'll hit it with the sander just a little bit. Okay? And I'm using my fingernail to feel it, but you can see that there's hardly any divot or anything on the plastic. This one I cut pretty close to flush, and if I'm not careful when I finish it, it's going to leave a divot. And that's why you don't really want to try to cut it flush. Because cutting it flush takes away part of the surface of the part, if you're not careful. If you don't cut it flush, you don't take away the surface of the part. Okay? You two follow what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, then I will let you guys get on, folks. Your part. We have a box of Super Clean. We have some chrome mag wheels I don't like the chrome on. I throw them in the Super Clean. We also have an alternator I don't want chromed. Now, if you watch them, and I'm not going to stick my fingers in there. That stuff's kind of vicious. It's a degreaser. But if you start watching them,
Whoa.
that chrome's going to come off them really, really quick. In fact, it's starting to bubble. And you can see it. You can see it bubbling a little bit. Can you see it bubbling, Dallin?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh, wow.
And it's just eating the chrome right off of them. Look at it.
Oh, okay. So it's just taking it down to the plastic before they chrome.
Oh yeah, it just eats the chrome right off quickly. I have people tell me, "Oh, I use Coca-Cola, I use this," but nothing is faster than this stuff.
Yeah, it's like already almost
And this
gone.
is so you can just refinish it the way you want.
Yeah, because glue won't stick to the chrome.
Gotcha.
Because it's actually a metal coating on the plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, you might have to separate those rims because I know you want to
Yeah.
paint those rims. You don't want them chrome. Just like I don't want this chrome. And it's going to take a few more minutes, but you can tell it's coming off there pretty quick. Okay, Super Clean. Don't forget it. It takes paint off almost that quick, too. And it dissolves grease
Super
like you
quick.
wouldn't believe it.
And that's just your regular household.
It's an
product.
engine degreaser you can buy in the automotive section at Walmart. That's where I got this stuff. If it gets on your fingers, you better wash your fingers pretty quick because they'll strip all the oil off your skin. I mean, it attacks oil like you would not believe. And for some reason, it eats the chrome. All right, be back in a bit. All right, Gremlin lovers. I've got the engine somewhat assembled. Okay, I'm about to glue the fan on there. I got to clean the fan up a teeny bit. Again, this kit was kind of low grade. There's no numbering on the kits. You're just supposed to find the parts and match them by the pictures.
Fun time.
Ooh, I finally found that second carburetor. I've been looking a long time for the second carburetor because there's supposed to be 2 4-barrel carburetors. Yes, that's a carburetor. And it took me a while to find it. So, we've got the engine almost done. I mean, as far as I'm going to get it for paint. Then I'm going to work on putting together the undercarriage as far as I can for paint. And we're going to be painting pretty soon. And that's the idea. Not sure how I'm going to paint the body yet, but I've got 2 hoods so I can practice on one. I got to figure out how to not have orange peel in my paint. And that's going to be the challenge. With a rattle can I can, but I don't want to use rattle can paint on this. I've got big bad AMC green for this car, and she's getting greened. All right, back in a little bit. All right, David.
Woo!
How you doing on the cockpit?
Got the little pieces put in there for like a micro surgeon here, and just painting it green.
All right, when you're done with that, you got to go back and put all the detail colors on. Black
Okay.
and some others, yeah.
All
Read
right.
the directions, you'll find them.
Gotcha.
I've got him brush painting Vallejo paints. And from here, it's looking fairly decent. Let's see if we can zoom a little bit on it and see. Well, that's as good a zoom as this camera's going to have without using two hands. I can use better if
I don't know if you want it too close.
they're
Remember,
gonna
this
want
is
it
a
closer.
beginner here going.
They're going to want it closer. It's the way it is. I have to manually focus this thing too. There we go. It's actually looking fairly decent. The paint is even. I don't see any runs or streaks in the paint.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we're looking for. And brush painting isn't all that hard. For what you're doing there, you're not trying to paint minute details.
Right.
Okay? Now, you're supposed to paint the interior of the fuselage has that same color.
Okay.
So you might as well do that while you got that color going.
Gotcha.
And you might have to add a little bit of water to keep it from drying out. Because that Vallejo paint will dry out fairly quick.
Yeah, actually, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, I'll get the fuselage.
All right, darling. How are you doing? You got your
Good.
engine fairly well assembled.
Yes.
And you've almost got the undercarriage of the car assembled.
Yes.
Which means we're getting near paint time. We're going to go through and do as many sub-assemblies as we can before we paint. Like I'm going to have you put together the seats and a few other things first.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
That way we do all of our painting at once.
Okay.
Instead of a little paint here and a little paint there.
Yeah.
Because you guys have limited time to come over here. And me and my gremlin, well, I'm doing the same thing. I'm happy I finally found that other carburetor. I've been spending a while since parts are not numbered and labeled on these sprues.
You've had a carburetor dilemma.
Yes. Well, I'm going to come back.
Look what's in the water. Mom, look what's in the water. At the very bottom. I don't know. This is jellyfish.
You see the eel, BB?
You mean the green one?
Yep.
He's a wants to eat some. Look, mommy. I mean, that's a girl one. I know it's it. Why? Look at that one has long. Ooh, mommy, that one's pretty. It has a heart right there.
It's a fish with wings. See the fish with wings?
Yes.
Right here.
Look. It's purple. It's
Show me the one that has a heart.
Oh, he's going to purple. Wow. He's going good. Mommy, that fish with the heart was really beautiful, like that one.
I see it.
See his head on that side?
Mama, a hole. Look, there's a
Oh yeah, it's doing it again if you get too far away. Because I know it's doing its focusing by sharpness of the objects. And with this blue light from all the aquariums, it's just throwing it